Welcome to BeSimply. This is Suzanne Toro, and I want to thank you for joining us today. We have special guests, Random Rab and Ilya from Emancipator, aka Lapa. They are stepping out of studio to share some of their up and coming album that they will release later this year. They share their wisdom, their vision, their heart, and their soul. Without further ado, let's dive in with Random Rab and Ilya. So, I want to thank you both for being here. It's so exciting to spontaneously have you, Ilya, here with us today. And then, Rab, it's always good to have you here.
Yeah,
um,
thanks for having me.
so, what came to my mind's eye was you guys are in creation mode, and what's the seed synergy that's been flowing between the two of you?
Well, we're working on an album right now, a new side project called Dose.
Mm.
So we've been doing a bunch of recording sessions in the past, and now we're kind of like more on the mixing aspect
Yeah,
of things, and which is a little bit more focused, kind of technical stuff.
yeah.
Still adding layers and everything like that, but it's just a little bit. Yeah, that's kind of the concept of. So we're like 13 tracks about on this album so far that are pretty close. I
Awesome.
think around there, and then yeah, so then we're just having fun trying to polish it up and have it all come together.
Okay. And have you, by the name dose, is it going to take us on a little journey? Is it like a medicine dose?
I mean,
As
it's
you're,
whatever kind of there's a lot of meanings for dose,
yeah,
and then one of them is two. One
yeah,
of them is the dose that you speak of.
that's true. Yes. You
Dad's
see
on
where my
stage.
mind
Another
went?
reason. Yeah.
Yeah,
So we feel like it has a little bit of the zeitgeist of the times in it.
yeah, very good. And so for both of you, as far as getting back performing and being out in the field, how has that been? I see you have some things up and coming. I believe you played not too long ago.
How's it been for you?
It's been pretty good. Um, Slowly easing into the touring schedule and
Mm,
honestly enjoying the slow schedule at the moment as it's allowing a lot of time for creating new music
nice.
back at home and here in Denver with Rab. So it's been
Very
good.
good.
Yeah.
And
And
yeah, it's
how
been
about,
crazy. Been on the road again, doing shows again. Like it's just all kind of forgot all about it, and being back on the road is awesome and crazy, just like it always was. So yeah,
yeah,
it's
was
a
it like
different
a,
world. It's a different world.
absolutely, is it like a familiar shoe? Or have you had
A
some
little bit of
adjustments?
that, a little bit of a familiar shoe, but then yet, and I don't have all the same blisters that I used to, or calluses rather.
Yeah,
So it's kind of get reconditioned to life on the road, and but yeah, it's just a lot less, a lot more flying gigs as opposed to like touring, or like
Right.
driving tours.
Mm.
So that's been kind of the biggest shift, is just sort of like kind of random spots all around the country,
Right.
rather than in like, Chicago to Philly to New York, like in sequence.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah. Hmm.
And Ilya, I see you have a pretty busy schedule coming up, or yeah?
Uh, well, it's a nice balance between playing a few festivals this summer,
Okay.
as Lapa and with Emancipator as well, and
Oh,
then the rest of the time is committed to making new music.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, so it's a
Hmm.
really special time in life right now when there's studio time every day and the music is flowing, so it feels good.
Yeah, absolutely. Aho.
Yeah,
Um,
when we basically live on the road, it's for me it's been very challenging coming back home and coming back to studio and really focusing because
mm,
it almost takes 2 3 days on each end of the travel to come back to the center where I feel focused and zoned in on the
yeah,
on the essence.
Yeah.
absolutely.
I totally agree. It usually takes me like 3 or 4 days after coming, especially like if it's an extended trip,
Mm,
like, more than like a day or two. Then getting back in the studio feels, you kind of like shake off all these cobwebs and remember how it all works. Yeah, it's
yeah,
tricky. Hmm.
absolutely. Well, there's always that integration period.
Hmm.
Re-entry, we call it, re-entry to wherever you have to re-enter into a
Hmm.
family, studio, all that good stuff. So what's the vibe with your new with your collaboration? I shouldn't say it's both of your album, right? So what's the vibe?
Well, the two of us have written dozens of tracks together,
Mm,
whether through as Random Rap featuring him, or we've done some where it's Lapa featuring me. And so we have definitely kind of a synergy and a sound that we've kind of loosely crafted. And this album is sort of the essence of a full collaboration rather than
mm,
a feature.
nice.
And the vibe, we were just talking about this, like most of the songs kind of have like a mm, really smooth and lots of instrumentation, definitely psychedelic, danceable, but kind of a little bit more on the melodic, somewhat brooding, kind of trippy, but with lots of harmonies going. Some of the stuff
Mm,
is getting kind of like crazy folksy, and we're trying to contain it and get back on the or what
Yeah,
was it? It's really raw, I guess is the better word. Not
yeah.
folksy, raw, with lots of
like,
live instrumentation and drums. And we work with our mutual friend Cedar, who's on a lot of my music and has also
mm,
played with Emancipator. So we're trying to just harness a lot of energy,
Yeah.
right?
There's lots of different seeds flowing around,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they're sprouting, and some of them look a little different. And just as you kind of like make it a cohesive thing, where it all
Mm-hmm.
makes sense together.
Mm-hmm.
is it like
Because
a mosh pit? We're gonna like not know which way to go.
oh no, it's more like they just have different reflections of the
Mm,
essence of our music spirit,
Mm-hmm.
and
yeah,
in a way we are learning about it for the first time too. So it's nice to kind of get to know it and figure out where it's even belonging.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
It's kind of
Uh,
like growing a garden in the jungle, in that there's life everywhere, and it's you just got to figure out what you're keeping and what you got to weed out. And yeah, the seeds are planted, but learning how to craft and bring it all together into
mm,
one big
yeah.
project. Yeah, it's a lot of fun
When
though. Do that.
absolutely. And when
Yeah.
you said folksy, you're trying to tame that. What's that all about?
I think that came from, I think actually that was more of a, just because we have so much live percussion and live instrumentation, and yet we're coming at it from an electronic music
Mm,
sensibility, that sometimes the two, it's a lot of energy to harness, and it can easily get really chaotic
right.
or
Mm,
loose. And that would be like, I guess, like a really good folk band. Even the best folk band has a certain kind of looseness to it because it's a bunch of live, it's all
yeah.
live, right? But we're trying to
Yeah.
do much more, still have a live flavor, but hard to somehow bring it all, coalesce into something a little bit more kind of perfect in our version of what that word means.
I got you. I see. uh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fun. And then are you guys going to perform live with it, or what's the plan?
Yeah, that would be great. I think
Yeah,
so the music is done. It would be nice to bring to the people.
Hmm.
yeah. It feels like it needs to be experienced. Well, it can be
Make it.
experienced many ways, but it feels like it'd be fun to have you guys throw it down.
Yeah, it's been one of my favorite things to play with Rap Live. Um, yeah, it's an experience like no other.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've definitely done many shows together and actually played some of these tracks out live,
Mm,
and have been sort of figuring out how we want to do it. That's a little bit different than how basically. So it's a special thing in its own, the way we perform it
yeah.
and how we present it. Still working out exactly what that means, but we've sort of dabbled in it. We played on New Year's. We played a show together in Denver that was sort of, I think, exploring maybe the potential of what this is going to be with a little bit more, um, less of a DJ set and more of a kind of experimental live thing, but still not like going back to that thing where it's not too chaotic, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like the more live stuff you introduce to it, the more you have to kind of be conscious of how to keep it all cohesive.
Mhm.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's reminding me, I don't know, and excuse me for mentioning them if you don't like them, but when you're describing it as the album Leaf, have you ever seen them?
Oh, I know you're talking about. I've never seen them live. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty because it's like dark on stage, but it's a lot of
Mm,
instruments. It's like seeing the symphony in a whole new way.
mm,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. When you're describing it, it might be something like that. Um, so and where do you guys go off? Where do you what time of the year do you think this is going to be finished? Soon or
We're kind of thinking of the end of the year
okay.
or beginning
Very
of
good.
next year, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
we're gonna
New
make that decision at the end of this session. We decided.
You what?
Well, we're
Oh,
gonna we have yeah, we're gonna make that decision soon. It's sort of like figuring out finding a balance between how much time we have to work on it, but then also we're both kind of perfectionists, and then as it goes on, it gets more and more that perfectionist aspect of us can come out, and so we don't want to rush it, of
yeah.
course, but we're hoping by the end of the year would be nice. Yeah, you never know
Yeah.
with this kind of stuff.
It's
Right.
true. It's important though to keep the music fresh in the ears and in the hearts. So definitely, it's feeling inspired to get it ready and
Mm-hmm.
released.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and
maybe a
that's
New Year's
right.
celebration, I think would be good. Chinese or Gregorian, whatever, right?
mhm.
Might be in there. How for you guys now with this respite, with music and then being brought back where you can actually go out and engage? Because last time we talked, Rab, you were, yearning to be out moving around and in the field again. What
Mm-hmm.
have you noticed for each one of you that's different for you now? Do you like appreciate something different about it or um, notice different things now that you were brought to a standstill and then get to go again?
I've been noticing that in the music industry has changed a lot in that, during COVID, a lot of people who weren't in it for lifers, I guess, kind of
Yeah.
got out, which
Mm,
means that it's kind of been there's like a new guard, and like the people who are left are like the real people who are truly believe in the scene. That's
yeah.
kind of a lot of that what I've noticed. And the crowds have been very responsive and excited to finally get out again and go crazy, especially at the beginning of the sort of comeback. People were
Yeah.
going absolutely ape. I don't know if I can say that word, but ape
Yeah,
crazy.
that's fun. Yeah.
And then but now there's been so much stuff happening, especially around here, that I think everybody's like, "What have I done to my life?" I'm out again. So, but I think the shows have been great. It's been so nice to see old friends that I know. I don't know. I'm sure it's the same for Ilya, but like a lot of my friends live in other places and I only see them on the road, but I always see them on the road. But during COVID, you know, like 2 years went by, and now I'm seeing all these faces again, and we're all 2 years older, and like, oh my gosh, you're still doing this, you crazy old man.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And how about for you, Ilya?
I don't know. In some ways, not everything changed, and other ways, nothing changed. Yeah, for me, when I go out, so I would totally agree with Rab. I have a whole circle of friends that spreads wide around the country, and missed a lot of those people too. It's been nice reconnecting. But other than that, it's always just been for me go out, play music, you know, with my open heart, and go home, and it's still the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, it feels a little bit like a time gap. I feel like we went into a meditative, maybe a little bit of a, I don't know if it was a meditative one, but a gap, and we came back out.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like, oh, like you said, 2 years, but it's like, did really 2 years just pass?
Yeah.
But it did. Very good. So for the current stuff, what are you guys playing? Ilya, you're doing some touring for yourself and Emancipator. And
That's right.
Rab, you have 2 shows coming up next for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And are you both doing like your most recent albums, or what do you feel like everyone's wanting to hear? Because it's like you guys are being missed by your fans, right? Like everyone's been yearning to see you live. What's the calling that you're sharing with them right now?
I always just play with what I feel like is good at the moment, and I always strive to play some new material because it's exciting to try it out for the first time. For example, these shows are going to be full of tracks that haven't been played much ever, so I'm excited just to see how it goes.
Yeah.
So to me, it's always an opportunity to share some new thoughts, new musical thoughts, new ideas, and try to bring some old stuff to you if it feels right.
Yeah.
There's never really a goal in that sense.
Right. Okay. I feel you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have a bunch of new music that I've been playing out, but then I also feel kind of like there's always got to be, if I don't play some of my, I don't know, classics or whatever you call them, then I get some really sad faces. So I feel sad too. So it's like got kind of a mix up. But the same thing, like I rarely plan my sets. And so it's always just kind of shooting from the hip and seeing what feels right in the moment.
Yeah. Well, you're good at that. What's the number one song they always request from you that you sense they want?
I get a few. I mean, it's, you know, I guess "Give Me That Hope" has been a popular one. Apparently, I get requests for a lot. And yeah, so, but there's always someone. I always love it when someone pulls something really deep out of the catalog that I even forgot I made.
Oh,
like, I'm like, oh, I didn't even know I made that song, but I can't wait to play it tonight.
yeah. Oh, that's good. And speaking of the music industry, where do you feel it's headed? Because, like you said, a lot of people maybe have fallen off, that, changed careers or reevaluated what they wanted to do. What do you foresee the vision for the benefit of the musician in the future?
I think the music scene is going through a big metamorphosis right now. There's a lot of, a lot of places barely survived COVID, if they survived at all. Shutting down, reopening, shutting down, all that kind of stuff. I've noticed that a lot of places have taken the time to sort of revamp or start new with like some new venues and whatnot. I do feel like though it's going to be like a little bit of a struggle as we move through these next 6 months to figure out who can last through the big surge that's happening, similar to what the restaurant industry is going through. Just with all the staff shakeups and how what new scene and reestablishing themselves. So I feel like as far as the live thing goes, there's definitely a big change happening. I also think that there was like a big desert of time where a lot of new up and coming artists didn't get their chance over the last 2 years to sort of shine and grow their own careers. And so I think there's going to be there's kind of like a lot of people right now that it's a lot of backed up energy. And I'm interested to see kind of the next wave of albums and musicians that are kind of come out and play live, because I feel like it's like it's a new era. We can't go back to the way things were before.
Yeah.
But I think right now we're kind of figuring out what that new era is as a community. I think this summer is going to be very telling about with the different festivals that are happening and who will succeed financially, but also who's going to, be able to bring out the vibes. I know that things like Lightning in a Bottle just went off, like people are ready to come back out. But I think this summer is going to be very interesting to see how it all like reestablishes the organization of how everything works. And I think it's an exciting time to be a producer and to release new music right now.
Yeah. Well, why don't you answer? I have another question, but Leila, I'm so sorry. I'm butchering your name. What do you feel like, do you feel to weigh in on that with music and where it's going?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I
You're a
used to
man of
really
heart.
good rap, for sure. There is that thing where some people fell off the scene, and there's new artists. There's always new musicians and new artists coming up.
Mm.
So it's interesting to see if there is going to be more places for those upcoming artists. But other than that, I have no idea. I'm just taking a day at a time right now and just focusing on my own stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not an expert in any of that stuff, and I figure I just make my own music, and that's my contribution to whatever is really happening, and that's all I can do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Rab, to expand on what you were saying, do you feel, um, having like worked in and around the field, the music field, that it's going to metamorphose in a way that, like, that sales of music will actually go back to the artists, getting away from the streaming concept, or
I doubt it. Yeah, I don't really see any real movement towards that. Honestly,
yeah,
it seems like there's just so many powerful conglomerates that are controlling how music sales are done that I don't really. I mean, perhaps the sales of things like vinyl and things like that might be a way to, but I don't. Yeah, music sales is sort of like I don't really. Yeah, again, I don't know. I agree with Ilya. It's like hard to even really know what to predict with all that. Just kind of hoping that I can still do what I love and share my music for as long as
yeah,
possible.
okay.
Yeah.
Um, so, and then this is my cosmic question, kind of, but if I'm asking you both to be fortune tellers. Ilya, you can be from the heart consciousness.
All
Rab,
right.
you're going to be from the stars.
Okay.
All right.
Um, so in our collective consciousness and like a lot of awakening happening right now, if we're brought back to the basics, meaning more from the roots up, which might mean that isn't like all this tech around the way we're used to. How do you see yourself expressing yourself in that environment?
Do you mean if like the internet gets shut down and then we get hit by an asteroid and there's no power, or what is what you mean?
Well, we're coming up to a period on time. I'm close with several of the elders out at Hoping Nation, and we're kind of at the end of what they see. And so, yes, the lights would go out for a little bit,
Oh,
and
okay.
then they would come back on. That's saying it very simplistically. I don't know about asteroids and all that, but it feels like, lights out, lights back on kind of thing. Um,
Okay.
yeah, how would you express yourself, cosmic? Because you're so connected, like, uh, from my relationship to your music and the sounds you create seems so cosmic to the earth and sometimes from the earth out. But yeah, how do you foresee you expressing yourself in that environment?
I mean, really, it would not be much different except just without power. So, whether it's acoustic guitar or, a little drum or whatever. There's a cave I went to in Zion recently. Maybe I'd go there and just hang
Mm.
out in the cave become a cave hermit and sing chants to myself about the end of the world, and then hope my solar panels can power my laptop long enough to make another album.
I love it. There you go. I love it. And Ilya.
I would say the same. Not much would change for me. Most of my life, I played classical music. Electronic music's been somewhat recent thing for me, so I'll just go back to my roots in that sense. Just play acoustic violin and use my charcoal from the campfire to record the music that I write and pass it
Get
down
out your
on
stone tablet.
I'll write it on a cave wall.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I love it. Well,
Because
I
by the
think
time you get the solar panels, probably totally dead.
yeah, well, I guess then we won't be completely because there's enough people with solar panels that will be running to their homes
Right.
to have some kind of interface. Okay, that's good. And then cosmically, where do you feel consciousness is going and the heart's going for yourself? Where are you leading?
Where is it going?
Yeah.
It's just staying right here for me.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Where else is it gonna go?
Well, I guess the better word would be it's not going anywhere. It's transforming or expanding or contracting. It could be doing many things at once. Um,
Well, my body is just a vessel for the consciousness that I have right now. So, as long as my body keeps moving around, you'll be here. Then I don't know, to the next place.
yeah.
I don't know.
I think we're both similar in that we're like, instead of trying to anticipate where things are going to go, is to just be a witness of where things are and to be in the present moment with that, because it's so hard to try and get ahead of anything really. It's just whether, again, I could fall down tomorrow and break my leg and then I'm not going anywhere, or whatever. And to be in the present moment with where you're at with your own mind and spirit, and try to be present and awesome at all times.
I feel like it's, in that sense, it's a gift that we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, because every day is so exciting. It's like, I have no idea. It's pretty cool right now. So just
agreed. Yeah, and I think that's beautiful to be. Without like the internet, I think we'd all be more that way. We'd be more in our surroundings. Like it's a blessing when you get to go in studio or a cave because you can tune out rest of everything and just get to be very present. And I think part of that question was leading from the last time we spoke, and Rob, you were saying that who knows, it's looking more and more like that we might be in a, what did you call it? Control or AI reality, like a virtual reality. So it's more like that. Like what's
that's
revealed.
That's the vibe I was on last time.
What?
The AI thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, it is. They are. It's interesting how AI now is going back to the internet. Like how much we're interfacing with AI and how it's started trying to understand what we want to buy on Amazon or what pictures we might want to see on TikTok or anything, and we're just like fully part of this big neural network that's getting bigger and stronger. But luckily, you can just sometimes it gets kind of intimidating and scary or weird, but then you can always just turn off your computer and walk away from your phone, and that's always an option. So
agreed.
Self-imposed doom if that's what you want, but it's not mandatory.
Yeah. Oh, let's hope not. We can be hammer time to the iPhones. Um, all right. So you beautiful be here now beings. In what you've just been working on today, can you share a little bit about it, or make a little beatbox out of your mouth and share?
Definitely can't do that, but we're doing. We're like I said, we are mixing kind of when we get together and we do these sessions where we just layer and so many different elements, kind of
Yeah.
throw everything at the wall, and then it becomes a lot like a sculptor,
Mm,
like a stone sculpture where they're hammering away to reveal what's inside of it.
yeah.
So right now we're in the phase where there's kind of a lot, and we're sort of just kind of peeling away the different layers and perfecting it and getting it more balanced.
Nice.
So it feels like, yeah. So we're working on, we're just jumping around to all of our different tracks and sort of like peeling away and enhancing and just making everything as good as we can.
Mm,
Yeah.
that sounds beautiful. It's nice to be, the power of subtraction is really powerful.
Yeah. There's a lot of
Yeah.
times it's like easy to put. Well, it's okay, but to like do too much at
Yeah.
once, and because that feels really good when you're creating something. But then also, once you give it a little space, you're like, wow, there's just a lot going on here, or maybe we can pull it back and have a more beautiful experience with it. It's really
Yeah.
about just enjoying the process too, and really just creating songs that we want to listen to
Yeah.
forever. So,
Exactly.
mhm.
Make sure we're not waiting for the music to happen. And
Right.
it's taking us on a magic
Mm,
carpet ride.
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the goal.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like this is a perfect synergy because the two of you are such feeling souls, uh, and very aware of your surroundings. So I can only imagine the masterpiece that's about to be born very soon there in the studio. Uh,
We hope it's good.
I feel like it is. It feels good, even though I'm not allowed to hear it. I can feel the energy. Um, can you both share, since you're both heartfelt, a little bit of um, I don't know, love and kindness to the listeners about how to retain that and openness, since are emerging from this period that has been quite divisive and separating, how we can unify maybe within self and then with one another. You guys seem like it comes very naturally.
um, well, I think that there are a lot of forces out there that are trying to convince us that feeling good is somehow not okay, and that we really should be feeling bad about a lot of things, about whether whether it comes to the news and how it's constantly covering the death and destruction of the world far away and at home, which is important information. But I think it's important to allow yourself to feel good despite it and not feel guilty about it. And I think there's a lot of shame around feeling good. And I think that is a really the path of what feels good for you is important, and to really hone in on what that is in your life that does feel good. And if something isn't working for you, then to move on and not feel bad about it, and not let the forces of darkness that are around us everywhere right now and pretty hard to avoid. And again, I said this thing about self-imposed doom. It's very easy to go so deep into the doom that's happening all around us, whether it's climate change, war, the shootings, cancel culture, anything that like affects you in a negative way, and to recognize that as something that does exist, but it doesn't have to be who you are, and you don't have to let it in and mess up your life. And it's okay to follow your dreams and do what you love, and you'll make not only a better life for yourself, but for those around you.
Oh, Ilya?
Well, yeah. I, I agree that there's a lot of negativity and sadness all around us. And it's part of our everyday life. I always wondered, why is it, I've had that experience too, where it's so much easier to feel sad about something than to feel happy about it. And I always wondered why, but I, I still don't really know. But all I know is that it's just as important to embrace the sadness, because ultimately it's allowing me to feel happiness in a true way.
Hmm.
Otherwise, how do I know what is what? And because all the tragedies that happening around the world, it's crazy, and it's so important to know that and be aware of it, and not push any of it away. And at the same time, in our immediate bubble, in our immediate life, we are the masters of our universe. We are the masters of this yellow brick road that we are building every single day, whatever life we live. And so it is up to us to wake up and cherish everything we have, smile at the people that we love and we know and we don't know, and just continue to embrace everybody around us in the most sincere way.
Hmm.
And I think,
Oh,
to me, through that, it is possible to feel happy every day. And like I said, it's a choice.
yeah.
I got my day today. I don't know what's tomorrow, so I better enjoy it. There's
Oh,
so many examples historically where today is good, tomorrow is dead. So we don't
yeah.
know what our destiny is. I don't know. So just really treating every day as a gift.
Hmm.
And I think
Oh,
if that was the sole idea and focus of day to day life, I think people will find their own path of happiness within that,
yeah.
if they truly look into that. But it's easy to get distracted, and just
By
gotta
these
pay it.
things.
Well, I mean, these are just
Yeah.
one of many things we get distracted by.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. My point is, if we didn't have these things, we wouldn't know about some of those things you guys just mentioned. We would know about what happened in our village, our community, but we wouldn't necessarily know, you know, across the world or so forth, you know.
mhm.
So,
And I know some people today who make that choice consciously to not have a phone that does anything more than just call people.
yeah.
So you can also make that choice, and it's okay to not want to know about all those things.
Yeah.
It doesn't really change anything for you today here until it actually becomes some reality. I don't know.
Yeah. Well said. Beautiful. And so in the sentiment of feeling good, Rav, what stokes your fire these days outside of making music?
Um, I am enjoying the sunshine and played a game of volleyball yesterday, which was amazing,
Mm,
and
nice.
really just enjoying being back out and enjoying my friends and just my family and just this beautiful life that we get to live every day.
Mm, nice. And Ilya, how about you?
Can you repeat the question one more time?
What's stoking your fire lately? What's
Oh, what's
bringing
working
you
my fire?
joy? What makes you feel good with no
Oh,
shame? Reckless
yeah. Well,
abandon.
back at home, I just enjoying my family, hanging out with my kid, and building our home right now. And let's see, yeah, making music,
Mm,
living in the forest makes me really happy.
nice.
Up every day and hearing the birds and smelling the freshest air,
Mm,
it makes me feel really happy.
that's beautiful. I think we need more news like this to remind people. Well, because sometimes we forget about these things, you know.
Yeah, these are not
You,
things.
you both just took me there. So, And then I wanted to know, I'm like, did you play volleyball outside or did you play it inside?
We
So,
played out. I played out during Jazz in the Park in here in Denver. Like
uh,
hundreds of people hanging out, eating foods, and playing tons of volleyball nets happening. And yeah, it's
nice.
pretty. It's like just pure living. It feels really good to be out. And I mean, nothing. What can you beat? Music and friends and some running around. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was like a long winter. It's nice to finally get the sun on the skin and
Yeah.
enjoy that outdoors.
Yeah.
Yeah. The sun likes that. So,
Yeah.
well, I really appreciate you both taking the time, especially in the middle. I feel actually kind of honored in the middle of your creation process. I appreciate you like peeking out. If you both can give a shout out where you want people to find you. Currently, I'll put the links below too, but it's always good to
Um,
orate it.
yeah. I mean, Random Rab. I'm
Yeah,
there. Instagram, website.
Yeah,
Just Google it, and
yeah,
that's all. Yeah, it's easy to find now.
yeah.
So.
Lapa music, internet.
yeah. Perfect. Or a big bullhorn if the internet goes down. Our
Yeah,
tracking devices will come in and we'll hunt you down for
yeah,
a play in the park.
Smoke signals always work.
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, once you guys have your date queued up and we get a little closer to the launch, it'd be fun to have you back and do a little sneak peek right before you do the preview launch if you
Okay,
are inclined. Um,
sure.
but please keep spreading the joy we need and, do it. There should never be that word shame associated with feeling good or joy or anything like that. So that's a big contribution to humanity. So thanks for having some fun.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thanks for having us on.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Once again, I want to thank you all for listening in. We're going to exit out with one of their co-creations from the not so distant past, 39 Circles. In addition, all their links are below. If you can, attend their up and coming shows, support the arts, buy their music. Even though you can stream it, you can still purchase it on certain platforms. And until next time, this is Suzanne signing out with a full heart, a soft gaze, a deep bow, and a namaste. Be simply.
Circle in the sun. Circle in the sun. Circle in the sun. Circle in the sun. Circle in the sun.